now. Not trend projections, which make things cataclysmic, but the knowledge we have now. But this isn't just a fanciful notion of, say, oh, we can have more free time. There's also a social imperative here. It's a very critical thing to point out that, historically speaking, the more that we have moved to automation or what's called mechanization in any industry, the greater the productivity. In fact, productivity is now inverse to employment in many sectors studied, which means it is socially irresponsible not to automate as much as possible, for it allows for greater abundance and efficiency. Here's a chart of the G7 advanced industrialized countries showing how employment in manufacturing has been dropping while manufacturing output has risen substantially. And this particular trend is happening across the board, and why wouldn't it? These machines don't need to take lunch breaks, they don't need vacations, they don't need insurance. It makes perfect sense. And as a very quick point, what you're going to tend to find is that the inexpense of machines are becoming so inexpensive now. Technology is exponentially growing at such a rate. In your cell phone, you have a little microchip that's more powerful than the greatest supercomputer that existed 50 years ago. And it's really cheap now. The first great supercomputer costed millions and millions of dollars. People aren't going to be affordable anymore to most corporations. They're going to automate because they can't figure out a way to reconcile keeping human labor anymore, except for ideological things, of course. And fifth, we have to move from a system of materialism and property to a system of universal access. Now, before this point is dismissed as communist propaganda, let's consider the train of thought. In a resource-based economy where production is streamlined to maximize quality and minimize waste and duplication, the idea of property becomes obsolete and, in fact, detrimental. People do not need to hoard and protect anything. They simply need access to what they need at the time they need it. The best example is the automobile. We've been finding in science now there have been tests done of cars that can drive themselves. It's been tested, satellite-driven automobiles that can navigate very well, and Jacques talked about this years ago as well, using Doppler radar so cars simply cannot hit another car. These things are coming to fruition. So in the future, if you need to go somewhere, you call up the car that you need, it comes to you, you utilize it, and then when you're at your location, it goes back and helps somebody else. As opposed to sitting in some parking lot, wasting time and space for likely 80% of the automobile's life. This is what we do. We waste so much space and resources. We waste so much space and resources with this primitive concept of personal ownership. It is environmentally detrimental and socially inefficient. And by the way, property isn't an American or capitalist idea. It's really a primitive mental perspective generated from generations of scarcity. People claimed legal ownership because it was simply a form of protection. It's also controlled restriction, in fact. You know, no longer would someone need to live in one place. One could travel the world constantly, getting what they need as they move along. Anything needed is obtained without restriction. There's no reason to even steal something, and this is an extremely important point. How could you steal something that no one owns? You certainly couldn't resell it because there's no money. Right there, you have 95% of all crime gone. In conclusion, as paradoxical as it may seem, the more efficient and conservative we become, the more streamlined we become, the higher the level of abundance we can generate for all of us. Today, around the world, many people often say, I wish we could live like Americans. I know you've heard this before. Well, no. The contrived, ostentatious orientation and conspicuous consumption patterns of the American culture should be despised by all other countries on this planet. We have 5% of the population. We have 5% of the population and we consume 30% of the world's resources. It's insane. In a resource-based economy where we base our production and distribution on physical reference, starting with the carrying capacity of the earth, where we streamline our labor expression towards things that have a long-term social return, When we get rid of the cancer known as the financial system and start to share our resources in a diligent way, working together, avoiding the false values of materialism and consumption pushed upon our culture, we find that we can provide a high quality of life for everyone on this planet while eliminating all of the central reasons for war, poverty, destitution, violence, criminal behavior, neuroses. It would be the dawn of a world we could actually label a civilization. And if that isn't a goal worth working towards, I don't know what is. Thank you.